Hey guys, it's Nurse Memi here, and I am ready to get started. So, taking it back again, my name is Memi. I have been a nurse for 6 years. I spent 6 months on a respiratory rehab unit, 2 years on a cardiac unit, and the rest, I guess it's like 3.5 years in the ER. I began traveling in 2018. I began traveling, and right now I'm on a travel assignment in New York City, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys. So, taking it all the way back, I started nursing school at 17. That's crazy, right? Soon as I finished in high school, right after, like I'm talking 2 weeks after, I went straight away to college, and I went to college in upstate New York. So, started nursing school. I graduated first with my associate's degree in nursing, and that was in December. I went and took my boards. Well, I went and enrolled in my bachelor's program, and I was studying for my boards all at the same time because the program started in the spring, in January, for my bachelor's, and I had just graduated in December. So talk about stressed. I was so stressed. I was doing Kaplan as a study prep, and I took my boards in March. So after taking my boards in March, I passed on the first try with 96 questions, and I was so happy. I was 19 years old. I'm just thinking back. I was 19 years old. I was so happy. I couldn't be more happier. So I passed, and then, so I'm still in the program to get my bachelor's. So I was still in the program to get my bachelor's, but taking it back, I forgot to even remind you guys that when I was in high school, I thought for sure I was going to be a midwife. Like, that was my path. I was either going to be a midwife, or I was going to work in labor and delivery, or in the mother baby unit, something. Like, that's what I thought I was going to do. So I'm looking for a job, and of course it was like almost impossible for me to even get into a hospital with no experience, let alone on a specialized unit. So I started on a respiratory rehab unit in a short-term acute care facility. There were, all of the patients on that unit had trachs or were on vents. And yeah, that's where I started. So the unit had about 20 patients. And yeah, that's where I started. But that was not where I wanted to be. So I started there. I'm still going through the program to get my bachelor's. Then I finally graduated with my bachelor's. And before I even graduated, I ended up in the hospital on a cardiac unit. So I was working on that unit for 2 years, like I said, and I just had this burning passion in my chest. I was like, this isn't it for me. I have to go. I just knew I needed to do more. And I never made it to the mother baby unit. I volunteered there a few days, and I realized that wasn't it for me either. So that whole midwife dream was put to the side. And the cardiac unit, it did it for a little while, but it wasn't lighting that fire in my chest. Like, I was looking for this adrenaline rush and the super critical thinking. And once I got exposed to that life of working in the ER, that was it. I found my niche. It was the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done, especially as a nurse, but in life in general. The rush that I got from saving lives and the different patient cases and patient scenarios, the rush I got from that was life-changing. So I got to work in the ER. I was working there for 2 years, I think I was working there 2 years. And then I decided, wow, I should really advance my career. So I knew that I loved to teach, and we'll talk about that later on. But I knew I loved to teach, but I knew I didn't necessarily want to be a clinical instructor. So I'm maybe I should just go to school and become a nurse practitioner. So I spent like months looking up all the different types of nurse practitioners, and I was just stuck because none of them appeared to be like the right fit for me. I didn't really want to do family because I never had an interest in like primary care, like medicine. Like I didn't have an interest in that. I knew I wanted to do it. Acute care wasn't an option, but I wasn't really interested in the intensive care part of it. I really just wanted to work in the ER. Like that's just all I wanted to do. Like I literally became obsessed with it. It was everything about. So that was it. I was like, this is so simple. I was like, wow, emergency nurse practitioner. I didn't hear about it. I've never heard about it until I did the research. There were, I think, 3 schools that I was looking at, and they were all in Atlanta. And I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna have to make this transition. I'm gonna have to relocate. I'm gonna have to buy a house. I'm gonna have to start school, find a job. Like it was just a whole bunch of things. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it because this is what I want to do. And you know, I was working in the ER and I was very comfortable at the facility that I was at. And I really do miss my first ER. I learned so much there, but at the time I was like, I gotta go. I need to learn some more. I'm not done learning. So it took me about, I think I decided that I was gonna relocate in January, and I relocated in June. So I quit my job, applied to the schools, got accepted to a school of my choice, chose it, and now all I had to do was find a house because I didn't want to rent an apartment, and I was also ready to invest in real estate. So I was like, I'm gonna buy a house. That's it. So I did all of that research and all of that stuff, bought my first house. So I started my first job. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. I actually interviewed for my first job in Atlanta, like via the phone, and then I flew out there just for an in-person interview. That was in May. So I got my first job. That started at the end of July. I closed on my first house the end of July, and school started. So I'm working at this facility, this hospital in the ER. I have my ideal shift. My preceptor was amazing. Everyone was amazing. Like just the whole experience was amazing. I'm in my school of my choice. The campus was amazing because I wasn't on campus for like, I don't know, 3 or so years. So like it just felt good to be back on campus. My professors were amazing. My house was beautiful. Like everything was just, it felt so good. But in the same breath, I was very, very overwhelmed. Very, 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 very overwhelmed. And I decided, again, that I had to make some changes because I thought I had it all figured out, but maybe not so much. And after much thought and much back and forth with my family, my friends, and so on and so forth, I decided that I needed to take a break. And I needed to take a break because I was so overwhelmed. I was working full-time, which I know we all do, but I was working full-time from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., which is my favorite shift, by the way. And also, I was in school full-time. So I think I had school like maybe Mondays and Tuesdays, and then I worked every Wednesday through Sunday. Things needed to get done. It was just like so much. So I said, I have to take a break or my head's going to explode. You don't want my head to explode. So I took a break and I decided that I was going to start travel nursing. So here I was looking for travel agencies, and I was so sad and I was like embarrassed, and I had so many emotions. I can't even explain it to you. But so yeah, here I am looking at agencies, and I finally found one that stood out to me, and I applied, and I landed my first travel job in New York City, and I've been traveling ever since. So, for those of you who don't know much about travel nursing, I'll just tell you a little bit about it. So, depending on your agency and your specialty, I think that you are required to have a certain amount of years of experience in the specialty of which you're trying to travel. I can't say for certain how many years you need, because I can't remember. But when I started traveling, I had 2 years of experience, or 2.5 years of experience in emergency medicine. And honestly, to me, that was like the perfect amount of years, because like, I don't think I would have felt comfortable doing it like after 6 months of working in the ER or whatever, because you only get, when you do travel nursing, you only get a couple of days of orientation. You don't really, I mean, yes, if you choose a good hospital and so on and so forth, you always have like resources. So with travel nursing, you get paid a set dollar amount. That's the money that you are taxed on, depending on where you are. Next, you get a stipend. You get 2 stipends. One is for housing and one is for meals and incidentals. So, starting with housing, let's start there. You can choose to take the housing that the agency provides for you, or you can choose to take that money and find your own housing, which many well-versed travelers do. Many people just take the money because the housing, sometimes, like majority of the time, the housing that they find is like, they try to put you in a safe neighborhood. They try to put you near the job and so on and so forth, and that can be a little costly. So the next stipend that you receive is for meals and incidentals, and that accounts for just that, meals and incidentals, such as transportation on the train or like, whatever, incidentals. So those 2 amounts are not taxed, and that is part of the reason why travel nurses make a lot of money. So now let's talk about the perks aside from the money of travel nursing. So perk number 1, which is one of the many reasons why I'm traveling, is the autonomy/flexible schedule. So before you start a contract, your recruiter will ask you if there's any days that you need off between the 13 weeks of the contract, and you say yes or you say no. And she sends that to the person at the hospital, that, like, the liaison, the one who looks over the contract and sends it to management. She sends it to that person, and they either approve or deny your request. 9 times out of 10, they're going to approve it, because the reason that they're hiring you in the first place is because they need staff. So when I first started, I was like, no, I don't want to make it difficult. I don't want to request these things and then they cancel my contract. They need you. And they're either just going to say yes or no, and then you can just choose how you're going to proceed from there. So at this point, every contract I sign, no matter what, I take a week off every month. And then perk number 2 is that you get to go wherever you want. Literally, wherever you want. Let's say, like, I'm just tired, I just need a break, I want to go on vacation. Let me go start a contract in Hawaii. Literally, wherever you want. Oh, my cousin is going to be having a baby in the next 5 weeks and she's in Kentucky. Let me take an assignment in Kentucky so I can be near my family. Wherever you want, girl, wherever you want. I love that. I really love that. I know I probably sound insane right now, but I love that. Wherever you want, you're not obligated to stay anywhere. Wherever you want. I think that's amazing. And there's so many other perks, but I'm just gonna name one more, just for time's sake. But the last benefit to me is that you get to meet some amazing people. Right now, I'm on a travel contract in New York City, like I said before, and I've met amazing travelers. I've met amazing permanent staff, doctors, secretaries, housekeeping. Like, you literally get to meet some amazing people and hopefully create relationships that last a lifetime. You know, like I've known some people from these hospitals that I can literally call, like, hey girl, I'm having a bad day, or hey, can we go out for a drink? Or, you know, I even met someone that I work with right now, like, we look at each other as sisters, like she called me her little sister. It's like you really get to meet amazing people. And I think that's so beautiful. So that's my last perk. So now we're gonna go and move on. So moving on, now we're gonna talk about the birth of my baby, the wallflower, which is my nursing blog. We're gonna talk about her. My hair started to creep back. You guys don't understand how much this nursing blog means to me. It means so much to me.